Yeah, welcome, Vanny. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for asking. And welcome to Pixels for Peace.
Thank you. All
So I
right.
see you're going to be running 100% of Neutopia, and we have the world record for this game, according to this live panels, 52:45.
Oh, am I doing 100%? Oh, okay.
Oh no, no,
I
I'm
thought I was
sorry.
doing 90%, but I can do 100. That's
Oh
cool.
no, I'm sorry. I was just looking at the itinerary and it says 100%, but I guess
Yeah,
that's
no.
wrong.
If that's what it says, then that's what I'll do. That's cool.
All right, all right. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but anyway, well, I guess while we figure it out, you got world record in both categories. so,
Yes, I do.
so, all right. Anything you might want to tell us? Like, I've never seen this game before, so if you want to give me an intro, what's that about, or that'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So this is a game for the TurboGrafx 16. Shout out to my friend Bald Nate who actually did a TurboGrafx 16 run earlier tonight in his run of Ninja Spirit. This is so just by virtue of being on this console, it's not going to be very well known. It's a little more obscure, but that's cool because I love showcases like this to show people a system that was, I mean, it was released here in the United States, and very few people know about it. So it's always cool to be able to spread the gospel of not only this console but specifically this game, which is for those of you that are familiar with my exploits, is basically my main speed game, and it's just I always love the opportunity to show this off, talk about it, all that good stuff. So yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun.
yeah, it definitely looks like it. We're in for a longer run. We just had some two little super hard games on short runs, but now we're going for a longer one. So I don't know if you're going to go for 100% or any percent. Um,
Well, I mean, what would you like me to do? I can do either. I was preparing any percent, but I can do 100% as well. That's fine.
yeah, I know. I don't think it's up to me, so I'll guess I'll leave it up to you or the organizers.
Well, I tell
I
you what,
just
the layout says 100%, so that's what I'll do. And I'm
yeah,
getting word
let's
in
go
here.
for
Yeah,
hundo.
it is hundo. So all right, 100% it is.
All right, so great. I'm glad I brought it up, Dan. we
Yeah.
we can go on with that. All right, man. So best of luck, and I think if you are ready to go, I think everything is ready. Just a quick shout out. Remember to follow Vanny Van on his Twitch account. Definitely, I'm looking at his world records, and he's got like a million world records there. He's got more world records than the games that I actually probably have finished. So, yeah, definitely. If you like speed, go there.
Oh yes, I appreciate the shout out. All right, should I get started?
I think everything's ready to go. So
Okay.
just wait for confirmation. Yeah, but you're ready to go whenever you feel like, man.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
All right. Thank you. All right. Oh, you know what? We might need to let the I'm gonna let the I'm gonna let the demo play one more time, or at least start one more time, so that I'm not starting on it. Give me just a second here.
It's okay. It's okay. Still
Okay,
have
there we
some
go.
time.
All right. Five, four, three, two, one, go. Alrighty, so here is our lore for this game. The evil wizard Dirth here beams down into the land of Neutopia in the middle of the night to go into the temple to whisk away with Princess Aurora. And now we need a hero. That's where we are going to bring in Jazeta here. He's our protagonist for this game. And he is being greeted in the Old Mother here in the temple and being told that about what Dirth has done, and that in order to confront Dirth, he will need to collect the 8 medallions of wisdom from wise men past in order to affix them here in the temple, which is going to break the layer around, or break the seal around Dirth's lair in Antarctica, which is actually just in a teleport behind her in that blue door there. So the first thing we're going to do here, I mean, we have to do this for 100%, but if I was not doing 100%, I would still collect this item anyway. What this here is, this is called the Book of Revival. What this will allow me to do is to obtain passwords, because the TurboGrafx 16 did not have an inherent backup system, and neither did the actual game cartridges themselves. So you needed to use passwords. I'll explain that actually in just a second. First, we come in here to get the boom bombs, which we'll be using quite often, and as well as this vial of medicine, which with one use will completely refill my health. So the Book of Revival is going to be nice for doing marathon runs, because it certainly allows for plenty of safety. I can actually get, you know, like quote-unquote save points here. It's also going to allow me to do a nice little save and reset trick, which is going to refill my health without me having to use a valuable potion. So that's pretty cool too. So the way that the overworld for this game works is it's broken up into 4 what are referred to as spheres, which are being done in order. Right now we're in the land sphere. Next we'll do the subterranean sphere, then the sea sphere, and then finally the sky sphere. What I'm picking up right now is arguably the most important item in the game. This is the Fire Wand. This is going to be our main assault weapon throughout most of the game. Mostly because it allows me to hit things at a distance, which is great for making sure that I don't take damage. So anyway, so in each of the 4 spheres, excuse me, in each of the 4 spheres, there are 2 crypts. At the end of each crypt is a medallion. We're going to do a little enemy movement manipulation here. Oh, shoot, we were going to, until I walked right into that guy. So 2 crypts in each one, and once you get the 2 medallions in each sphere, it will allow you access to the next one. So in that regard, this game is fairly linear. Alright, so here's a first example of using the bombs to blow things open. This old man is going to give me another segment of life. This is actually a good opportunity to talk about what exactly defines the 100% category. I am going to attain all permanent items, as well as all sword upgrades, shield upgrades, and armor upgrades. There are also upgrades to my life capacity, like you saw there, as well as the capacity that I have to hold bombs. Right now I have a maximum of 8 that I can hold. However, after gaining 3 upgrades, I'll be able to hold a maximum of 20, so that is going to be done as well. As far as how this differs from the any percent category time-wise, on average, I'd say it's a difference of roughly 5, 6, maybe 7 minutes, somewhere in that range, so not too much longer. It does provide for a little more safety. Some sections are a little easier. However, some sections are a little more difficult because there's a reason why we skip some upgrades in the any percent run, mostly because getting them is a pain in the butt, and the benefit that you get from getting them isn't all that great. So, and I'll be sure to point that out when those come up. But this is the first crypt here. This is actually technically crypt number 2. The game kind of had an idea of what order you should do the 2 crypts in each sphere. In pretty much every instance, we're going to do the second one first, and that's mostly because the items in the crypt or on the way to the crypt are pretty valuable, and we want to get them ASAP. So, and I'll explain what those are in this crypt. One of them was the Fire Wand, which we got. You see, this is what I'm using right now to throw out these little... Ooh, give me that. Give me that, thank you. To throw out these little orange fireballs. So, the Fire Wand is has a pretty unique mechanic where the output of the Fire Wand is going to be based on your current life total, such that the more life you have, the more powerful it is. So right now it just throws out these kind of little boomeranging fire orbs. If I were to drop below 4 full segments of life, that fire becomes much weaker. Once I get at least 8 segments of life, full life, not just capacity, then I'm going to start throwing out these like slowly rolling columns of fire, which are going to do a decent amount more damage. But once I get to at least 12 segments of full life, that's when we get something that I like to refer to as the good fire. It is fast, it is very powerful, mows through enemies, and just generally makes life easy breezy. But we won't be getting that for a little bit. So this is the item that we want to get in here. This is our first sword upgrade. I needed that bomb drop. Thank you. You see, now I'm taking things out much... You see, before I was exclusively throwing out fire, but now I'm going to start using the sword because now it actually starts to pack a little more of a punch than my fireballs do. And it's going to make fighting some of these guys a little faster. Oh. Oh, come on. So we're only a couple rooms away from the boss here. Oh, let me in there. Thank you. No! Go away. Okay. Where am I at? Oh, okay, good. Ooh, another bomb drop. That's nice. Bombs, the bomb drops aren't nearly as important in the 100% category, but that's okay. Alright, so here's our first boss. So this is the Golem. What he does is at regular intervals, he will split apart and reveal his... Oh, shoot. Ideally, you want to do it in 2 cycles. Once the 3rd cycle really only wastes just a couple seconds, so not a big deal. But 11 hits with the sword is what it takes to kill him. The segments that he splits apart there can be destroyed with your sword. So if you're sitting in the right position at just the right time with the right timing, you can essentially destroy those segments that he would be shooting at you and basically just get right into stabbing that sphere in the center. So once we've collected the medallion to fix it here in the temple, we're out to go to the next crypt. Alrighty. Just a little bit of walking here. Anytime you'd like to jump in with a donation or any kind of blurb or whatnot, this is actually a pretty good time to do it.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, so I'll take some time right now just to remind people we got a lot of incentives going on to this great cause, starting with some runs later today, but as the one that Lion King that was already met. Pretty much that's all I would like to say right now. What else? Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll leave it up to you.
Okay. Well, yeah. So this next room that I'm going to actually these next 2 rooms here are what I refer to as the Belfry. If those of you that are familiar with a speedrunner named Lackattack24, who is a world-class speedrunner of The Legend of Zelda, he has a room, and I believe it's in dungeon number 6, that he refers to as the Belfry because of all the bats that you fight in it. In this game, the enemy movements from the bats are very random, and if they decide to be uncooperative, these rooms can take a decent amount of time, especially when you're trying to attack the world record. There can be a decent amount of variance as far as the time in those rooms, so that Belfry wasn't too bad, so that's good. Alrighty, so making a stop here to pick up the steel armor. Oh, I didn't mention before, so you notice that I'm running this game in Japanese. That's done so because the text scroll in Japanese is significantly faster than it is in the North American version. And that's pretty standard for any game that does scrolling text for its text boxes, as opposed to when it comes to the whole Japanese versus English deal. Oh, really? Okay. Whatever. Damage here isn't too big a deal. And I get a cherry there to refill some of it. And that's cool. I can't even hold those bombs, so I'm not going to bother. Alright, so here's the Derpy Dragon Lord. 17 hits to kill this guy. 3. Ah, shoot. Alrighty. So that is our second medallion of the land sphere. So you see we're being taken back to the temple. Every time you complete a level, you get an additional segment of life, as well as a life refill. And now this staircase opens, and we are here in the subterranean sphere. You can tell that it is subterranean because of all of the lava. You're also going to see here, that's my fire wand now. You see it's got those kind of creeping pillars of fire. Well, not anymore, because now that I've taken damage and now that I'm below 8, I have these fireballs instead, like I just did. So now the management of health, as far as having the right amount of fire, or having the right level of fire in certain sections, is going to be very, very important. But that's usually not till later on in the run. So what I'm picking up here is an item called the Moonbeam Moss. It is an item that can be used at any time, and it has infinite charges. And what it will do is for the next few screens that I'm on, it will light up any dark rooms. Yo, what's up, dog? It is indeed me. Thank you for the good luck. Oops, what am I doing? Alright, we're gonna hop in here real quick. Pick up another medicine. You can hold 2 of these. Unlike other consumables with the exception of bombs, you can only hold 1 of them at a time. But the bottles of medicine you can hold 2. So one other thing that you might notice is that when I'm making screen transitions, that in some places I'm very particular about where I'm entering the next screen, and this is done to make sure that we don't step in it when it comes to the enemies that spawn there. Speaking of enemies spawning, these are all going to go left. That happens 100% of the time. Some enemy movement patterns initially are static, in that you know exactly where they're going to be and where they're going to go. So we use that to our advantage. Why was I pushing the wrong rock there? So this item that we're picking up right now, this is the rainbow drop. What we will do, and you'll see me use this in the very beginning of the next crypt that we're going to enter. What it's going to allow me to do is any gaps or holes or whatnot that are 1 tile wide, I'm going to be able to use that rainbow bridge from the drop to walk over them. You know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and do this. Alright, so what I just did there was I got a password, and then it asked me if I wanted to continue, and I said no, which takes me to the title screen. But then if you immediately go in and say that you want to continue, that password will already be... Oops. That password will already be preloaded in there. I basically just need to go to end, and it'll take me right back to where I was. But it'll take me back to where I was with full life, so... The reason I did that here is because I'm going to be... this is going to be the real first deviation in the route from any percent when it comes to picking up the items that I need for 100%. And there's a room that I'm going to be encountering actually fairly soon here where I will probably be taking a decent amount of damage. So, in the spirit of marathon safety, I just wanted to get my life refilled there. Oh, okay. This is gonna be a pain. Yep. No, come back. Alrighty, so let's see if I can get this to work. Nope. Alright, so one thing that we do in a couple of select places in this game. Oh, this is the bronze armor, by the way. You can tell because it's purple. Or, I'm sorry, this is the silver armor. When you get hit, you will always damage boost. The movement of your damage boost is always going to be the opposite direction of what you're facing, no matter what hits you and from what direction. So I knew I was going to get hit by that little fireball there, getting to the armor. So I intentionally turned around right before it hit me so that I could continue to move that direction as opposed to trying to just walk right through it and continually taking damage. Alright, so this is one of my least favorite rooms in the game because these ghost enemies will randomly disappear and just waste a whole bunch of your time. Also, they like to float up at the top of the room like this, and when you're online with them like that, your sword doesn't hit them. Also, my fire wand does nothing to these ghosts, so I have to do close combat, which I'm always nervous about. Dude, your first world D, I think, for the good luck. So this is a room where, and I've already done several of these, where you would use the Moonbeam boss to light it up. But I know many of them well enough that that's not necessary, so... Ah! Okay, now that item I just picked up is actually fairly important. It's called a magic ring. I'm not going to use it until Crypt 6, which is going to be 2 crypts from now. But what it does is it will transform larger enemies into smaller ones that are much less dangerous and much easier to kill. And some of the enemies that I'm going to be facing are just brutal. So having the ring is virtually a necessity for the speedrun. Oh, you're going to be a jerk, aren't you? Yeah, you are. Alright, so any of those brown doors that you see there indicate that there's a boss behind them. You have to grab the key that's in the crypt before you can open it, as well as kill all the enemies in front of it. Alright. Alrighty, so that was Stunlock Earwig, as I affectionately refer to it. The way that boss works is normally it creeps around the room and chases you down, and can be pretty difficult. Yo, what's up, bug? But the way that that boss works is that only its tail segment takes actual damage, not its face. However, all of the segments of its body take hit stun, so you basically just pile the entire insect up against the wall, hit all of its segments, don't allow it to move, and as long as your rhythm is good, then you kill it easy peasy every time. Alright, hello. Alright, so this that we're picking up here is our first example of the bomb upgrade. So you see I'm going to go from 8 to 12, and then eventually I'll go from 12 to 16, and then 16 to 20. Also, just like the life upgrades, whenever you get extra capacity, you also get a full refill too, which is nice. Shove that guy out of the way. Whoa, hello. Alright, so this is crypt number 3, quote-unquote. This is the bomb crypt. Be using several of them throughout. Here we're going to get our first shield upgrade. This is going to allow me to block the little blue fireballs that come out from enemies. Nice, he went up. Normally he comes right at me, and I'm forced to kill it. Nice. Alright, so in this room you can't see it, but there's a hole in the middle of the floor, and it will continually pour out those little creamsicle ghosts, as we like to call them. It literally doesn't stop. It's very terrifying. Please die. Please die. Thank you. Alright, appreciate that. Push the block, please. Why aren't you pushing it? Hello? Or is it this one? That's the one. Duh. So that's an example of me using the Moonbeam Moss. It will light up this room. No, get out of my way. No, so you see there's that hole in the floor, and they all just come pouring out of there non-stop. It's awful. And that ghost just keeps fading in and out. Alright, so here's the boss. Oh, I'll take that. Why not? So we're going to move just like this to manipulate this dagger twin to go up in the corner. And I can just kill it. 9, 10, 11. And then we just pin this guy against the wall. And hopefully he kind of cooperates. Perfect. Okay, good. So those were the dagger twins, I should say. Yeah, if you can manipulate the first one, the second one is usually pretty easy to deal with. But if you let them both loose, that fight can get really messy really fast. So. Luckily, everything was good. Now that we have both of our medallions from the subterranean sphere, here we go into the sea sphere. You can tell it is sea sphere because of all of the water. Also, one thing that... boy, we are, what, over 23 minutes into this run, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to mention that the music in this game is absolutely fantastic. And the music here in the Sea Sphere is a perfect example of that. So, just got a life upgrade here. In here is a bomb upgrade. Again, all necessary for 100%. Oh, okay. Alright, so we're going to take a minute to... kill all the enemies here to make this staircase appear. What's up, Big Mike? And we go in and we talk to this guy. And he is going to give us a rather important item. Not just generally speaking, but certainly for the speed run. These are the Falcon Boots. These are going to basically double my walking speed. And make life a lot easier, because there's going to be some really tricky enemies that we're going to be dealing with coming up here, and the faster that I can maneuver around them, the better off we're all going to be. Thank you for not moving down. I'd rather just avoid them as opposed to doing combat. Alright, so this is Crypt 6. This is probably the most difficult crypt in the game, and here's a big reason why. These wizard enemies are truly awful. Luckily, that one was a homie. Speaking of homies, these kind of these translucent slugs that you see here, remember them. They are very important. These wisp enemies that a dear friend of mine, shoutouts to Neutopia fan extraordinaire Scala Kitty. She refers to them as kitty ghosts because it looks like they kind of have little whiskers. Kitty ghosts are annoying. Also, these little zombie kind of armadillo things are annoying too, because just like the ghost enemies that I was fighting in Crypt 4, these enemies are impervious to the fire wand as well. So you have to fight them with the sword, and that's just annoying. Alrighty, so into here we go. Yeah, that's nice. We ignore what you have to say. Alright, so you're about to see the ring demonstrated as far as its usefulness. So I walk into this room, it's got all these wizards. Well, now it's got all these slugs instead. Now, as far as the type of slugs here, these slugs can drop rings. Now that I've consumed one, I want to have one for a room later in the crypt where it's very important to have them. Any slug that drops a ring is what we like to refer to as a slug homie. We are going to need a slug homie over the course of about the next, I don't know, about 8 or 9 screens to make an extremely problematic room infinitely easier. So usually ideally we would get a slug homie in that room where I turned those wizards into slugs, but that did not happen. So now we need to get greedy, which, you know, sometimes in life that happens. So we are... Oh, no! That's not what I wanted to have happen. Now I have the bad fire for this. Ah, that stinks. All right, well, this room's going to take a little longer now. These guys like to surround you, and that is annoying. But fortunately, we've done a pretty good job of holding them off. There we go. Hello, thank you. Ooh, I'll take that, though. All right. Come on, slugs. Where my homies at? Nope. 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 Come on. Yes! There it is. Alrighty. That is heartwarming to see, because I really only had one more room, one more chance, really, to get a homie, and in order to do it, I would most likely need to take quite a bit of damage, but I don't need to worry about that anymore. And in fact, you know what? Just for fun, I'm gonna demonstrate something here. First, I'm gonna kill this slug. Get out of the way. All right. So this is the room that I'm talking about here. You got these 4 wizards and all these blocks forcing you around to the edges. This room is awful to fight in as it's intended. But with the ring, we just turn them into these little sluggarooskies and make life a whole lot easier. So this is the strongest armor. This is something we get in any percent. It is crucial for the rest of the game, because coming up fairly soon are going to be enemies that deal a ton of damage. So this mitigates a lot of that. Sluggarooskies, you heard me right, bug. Hello. Push it. Push it. Thank you. All right, here we only have 2 of these wizards to deal with, And even though there's those things breathing fire at me, if I only have to deal with 2 of them, it's not that bad. The thing that's annoying with these wizards is that those blue arrows that they shoot out, they repel your fire, so that's no good. All right, so this is Poverty Trinex. This is normally one of the most random bosses in the game, but what I'm going to try to do here is manipulate this to go exactly like that. So now we can kind of pin this head against the wall and do mass amounts of damage to it, such as we can make this a lot easier. If you can get between the heads and the body as it's trying to return, you can just repeatedly bounce it against the wall and do a bunch of damage to it all at once. It should start returning soon, and when it does, I will be there to meet it. There we go. There's one down. Yep. Nope. I don't think so. There's 2. And there's 3. Perfect. Ah, no slug homie there. All right. Alrighty. So that's actually a really good. That was actually a really good Poverty Trinex fight. Getting through Crypt 6 without using a potion is not common. Alright, so here we go. I now have 12 segments of life, which means that my fire is at its highest form. Like I said, we refer to this as the good fire. It is going to just roll through enemies with the greatest of ease. So right now, I am taking a detour here to pick up an item that is only obtained in 100%. This is probably the most annoying extra item that you need to get for this category. So darn you, Mannix, for making me do hundo. Even though that's what I told you I was going to do initially. Oh no, and I'm taking damage. So there goes my good fire. Please get out of the way, because I don't want to continue to take damage. Just go away. Thank you. Alright, so this is the fire shield. This will now allow me to block the little red fireballs that enemies shoot out. Why did I do that? That's what I'm going to do. Just go away. Oh, do I have good fire again? I do. Excellent. Please go away. Thank you. Oh, good. Thought that was going to hit me. Oh, boy. Okay. No. Alright, so this is a great example of the good fire. Just rolling through here and just destroying everything. So what determines if you get the good fire is if you have at least 12 full segments of life, which I do currently. Now, if I take any damage and I drop below that 12, then the fire goes down to the next level. Or that goes to the level below, I should say. So what I'm doing here is what I like to refer to as the micro crypt. It is necessary to come in here and talk to this old man in order to get into crypt number 5. It's the only crypt like it that has its requirement. Basically, all I need to do is come in here, talk to him, and leave. Now I can get... Now Crypt 5... I'm sorry. Crypt 5 will actually now... The entrance will appear now. Whereas it didn't before. Please stay out of my way. So, now that that is done, we can proceed. Oh boy. Ah, thank you for staying out of my way. Much appreciated. Alrighty. So into Crypt 5 we go. Oh no, you suck. Come on, there we go. But here we go. We have a chance for more slug homies. We're gonna want this for Crypt 8. please just die. There's the ring I needed. All right, good. We can move on now. Okay. All right, we can ignore them. Just go on up and around. Ignore what you have to say. Shove you out of the way. Alright, coming up here is another item that is only collected in the 100% category in the next room. But first we got to do a whole bunch of combat here. I just throw out... Ooh, I'll take that. I just throw out a bunch of fire and hope enemies just kind of run into it. Because this room is just so hectic, and it's so easy to get surrounded. That we kind of just throw fire in every direction and just wait for things to die. Wait a minute. Oh, no! Darn it. I'd like to have full life if I can. If not, I can force the issue, but... Okay, I'll do it. That's fine. Alright, so this is the silver sword. There's one more sword upgrade after this, which is very powerful. So normally we don't even bother with this. We just hold out until we can get that. But again, this is 100%, so here we are. I'll take that. Just make life a little easier. Okay. Another ring that I don't need. Another ring I don't need. A key that I do need, so we're good there. Alrighty. Now we're gonna come out the way we came in, and now we can go to the boss room. Ignore him. Alright, so I'm going to use a potion here to refill my life for this crab boss. Now, when the crab gets back up to the top of the screen, we want it to move right to see if we can one-cycle this fight. You going to cooperate? Nope. Of course not. Alright, so this is going to be a two-cycle then. Right? Okay, good. Huh. Perfect. Alrighty. So with that, we've collected both of the medallions of wisdom from the sea sphere. We now have the stairway open to the sky sphere. Yeah, that's right, Scythe. The crab. We call that the crab bake. When we roast that crab boss with all of our fire. These purple bouncing things are arguably the most annoying enemy in this game. So, apologies in advance if a word of curse slips as I am fighting them. Please just don't. Thank you. Oh. Yeah, they are rather irritating. Please take my word for it. Alrighty, so Neutopia is going to display how stairs work. You just step on them and they send you hurtling into the sky, and you just drop down on the other side. That's how stairs work. Big Mike. Alrighty, so we're going to come in here. Might as well just refill my life here, get a refill on my medicine. No, thank you. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, Danny. Is that, I mean, that's just... Those are just stairs physics. Come on. Alright, so... Couple of screens here. Alright, so life is refilled, but more importantly for what I did there was that I obtained the password. If I die in this next crypt, what it will do is I can just go to continue and it will restore me at that spot. The reason why is that the boss of this next crypt that's coming up here, there is a quick kill for it. We have to get it, because if we don't, the boss is just extremely difficult and time consuming to kill otherwise. So we are gonna need this quick kill, or else it's just bad. There we go. Hello. Oh, come on. Thank you. Exactly. It was butchered berries. Yeah, see, you understand. Alrighty. So we immediately are going to come over here to pick up. I mean, you see the power that is the good fire. I'm just baptizing these enemies. Sure, why not? Alright. So. This is the Bell of the Sky. This is an extremely broken item that when you ring it, anytime there's a closed door that would need to normally be opened by either killing all the enemies in the room, or pushing a block, or potentially both, ringing the Bell of the Sky completely overrides all of that and forces the door open. This is going to make the rest of the run much, much quicker, because we're not going to have to futz around with killing enemies, doing block puzzles, what have you. Let's see, we just ring the bell, door goes open, ring it again, door goes open. Hello. Okay. Good. Oh, actually, no. I'm just gonna kill you. We're not gonna bother with the bell. Those skeleton enemies, too, are rather annoying. They are another enemy that does not take any damage from the fire wand, so you do need to do sword combat with them. And I would... Oh my god, get out of my way, please! Go away! Alright, drop down here, pick up our key. Oh my goodness. Please get out of the way. No, don't do that. Alright, so here's the other place where we need the ring. You've got this nice little cornucopia of crazy enemies, and instead now you've just got these little kind of miserable blob. I don't even know what these are. Never really gave these a good name. Alright, so potion time. I need full life for this boss. That is the quick kill. You can get it, you can manipulate him to move right into that one spot, and you can kill him in his first cycle. What happens if you don't do that is that that kind of golden puma head that he's in will retract. He'll fly around the room, and trying to hit him when it opens up later is very awkward. So the fact that we're able to just dispose of him that quickly is extremely important. Alrighty. So that's 7 crypt down, just 1 more to go. Oh goodness. So that was Crypt 8, and actually just kind of a spoiler alert. The guy that you saw there in the gray armor that was inside that puma head, that is Dearth. We will fight him again without that puma head, face to face, if you will. And that fight will go a lot differently. Whoops. Damage here is not a problem because we slide over here. Again, this is for satisfying 100%. We come here and we get another life upgrade. Now, one thing to note is that for the 100% category, there are actually 4 different guys that you can go and talk to like that will give you a life upgrade. We only need to talk to 3 of the 4 because the 100% category specifically stipulates that you need to have maximum life segments. Because we're going to get 1 more segment from the boss we're going to kill at the end of this next crypt, that will satisfy that requirement. Getting the 4th one does not give you an additional life segment. So another reason why we wanted to get the Bell of the Sky was to make the staircase appear so that we could go up there and get the strongest sword. This thing just steamrolls enemies now, and you will see it. You will see that put on display when I fight the boss of this next crypt. If you have any blurbs, donations, anything like that you want to read off, this is actually a fairly good time. We've got just a little bit of walking to do here.
Thanks. Well, I'll take some time to just remind everybody that we're $518 into our goal, so it's going pretty well. There's a lot of incentives going on. They have actually some of them are close to getting complete. There's a Ren and Stimpy Presents from Stimpy Invention. That's about $70 off from getting complete. So that's stuff you can pretty much donate to get a little bit more out of these games and awesome runs. Otherwise, it's going. I think the run is going pretty well. This is my first time looking at this, but I'm loving it, man. And, people, if you're liking it, feel free to jump into with your donations and get this goal destroyed.
Indeed. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the... I'm going to be Moss in here. Trying to negotiate this room here as far as the block pushing that you need to do in the dark is not fun. So we're just going to make this a little easier because we've got to push that, and then that, and then that. Now, if you once you push a block, you can't push it back. So if you mess up any of that, you have to ring the bell, leave the room, come back in again, and start over. Certainly, if you are doing a world record attack here, I don't need to tell you how much of a time waste that is. That I'm guessing is readily apparent. Right. Shoot. I forgot. I have to do 100%. Alright, so coming over here, we're picking up a 100% item. This is the strongest shield in the game. As far as how we would use this shield going forward, it really does us no good. So it's unfortunate that if I'm being forced to pick up these items, that they don't really give me any great benefit.
Well, in the meantime, I'll take some time to read a couple of donations that have been going in.
Sure.
There's one by Walranium. Great marathon so far. Been loving it. Can't wait to see the rest of the games, especially the Chrono Trigger race.
Ooh, nice.
We've got another one by Mr. Otter. He was 20 minutes plus $5 times 4. That's $40. Thanks for that, Mr. Otter. And this is going for a great cause. And here's to a great weekend.
Alright, so here we go. This boss fight. 1, 2, 3, and we're done. That's the power of having that sword. So, mow through the boss, super easy. Here we go. We've got our 8th medallion. You're gonna see that blue door behind the old lady here. It is going to open up. We can go in there, and we can confront Dearth once and for all. But we're not going to do that quite yet. The reason being is that because we are doing the 100% category, and we are short just one bomb upgrade. So we're going to come over here and collect it. And again, speaking of picking up upgrades that do you no good, we're going to get a bomb upgrade and then immediately use no more bombs for the rest of the game. Alrighty. So now we have satisfied 100%, with the exception of killing the final boss, which is what we're off to do right now. So this is Dearth. He takes 32 hits to kill, and I'll explain a little bit about how I'm manipulating his movement once I'm done with him, but I'm going to kind of pay attention here. last cycle is going to take a little longer, but shouldn't be a problem. There we go. All right. So time is going to be once the screen fades to black after we get into the room with all the people in it. It's in about 30 seconds or so. So as long as you don't move left or right, Dearth will always alternately appear directly above and directly below you as opposed to in the corners. So as long as we just stay on the center line here in the room, he will always appear exactly where we need him to be and just make this generally a lot easier. Alrighty, get ready. In just a second here, I will go ahead and call it out. And that is time. Alrighty. So there you go. That is Neutopia 100%.
Awesome, man. Thanks for that round. It was really great.
Alrighty. Yeah, thank you very much. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Like I said, I always, this is my main speed game. I always love doing this for marathons. It's a sweet little game that very few people know about. And so anytime I get a chance to share the love with this game, I'm always very grateful. So I'd like to thank those in charge here at Pixels for Peace for allowing me to have this game be showcased for your marathon. It is greatly appreciated. For those of you that enjoyed watching this game and or listen to me yak on about everything, or perhaps even both, if you would give me a follow, I'd really appreciate that. Like I said, I do games like this all the time. I actually also speedrun the sequel to this game, Neutopia 2, and I have the world record in that main category as well. So these are all things that I do quite often. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I was happy to entertain everybody here for the last close to hour or so. So I appreciate all of you watching and rooting me on. I also see plenty of GGs in chat. Thank you for those. And yeah, that is that. Oh no, Danny trying to promote himself here. I see what you're doing.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm using that command wrong, but I just corrected it.
Yeah.
The correct actual link to his channel. Please go follow him. He's an interesting guy.
I'm just kidding. So, all right, cool. Well, I tell you what, that is going to just about do it for me. A couple of shout-outs here. Shout-outs to RGL TV, my retro speedrunning family. There's plenty of them here in chat that where it came here to support me. Much appreciation to y'all. Like I said, shout-outs to the Pixels for Peace crew for allowing me to be a part of this. Specifically, Mannix, who reached out to me and wanted me to do this, and I'm glad that he did. And yeah, and shout outs to all of you watching along. It is much appreciated that you took this in, but I think that's going to just about do it for me. So, Danny, I will go ahead and hand it on over to you for our next run. But everyone that watched, thank you so much. Until next time, take care, folks.